Ooh, did you come in out of focus? That's
Well,
actually a very common occurrence, but
I
you came
just,
in completely out of focus, Mr. Rothberg,
Peter,
and a good evening to you.
the less focused I am, the better it is for everybody else.
I
So
don't know if you've ever been focused. How are you?
I am good. I'm in London, jolly old England. You just got back from Las Vegas. You're in
And
Orlando.
I went to
Be
HR Tech and you went to the Louises, as
Yeah,
I call it.
before I get into my stuff, because I'm the one with the information here, why don't you tell people, a little bit about HR Tech and our friend Chris Foreman.
Oh, and there's Louise Trions.
Triance.
Triance. Hi, Louise. I see your little note there. Good to see you both. I heard great things about your conference. Or the Louises, as I call it. It's really called Job Connect. HR Tech for me was fantastic. The conference is back. It's under new ownership, back more from pandemic, not from the ownership change.
Hmm.
Um, the floor show was huge, not as big as Sherm, but it was cool. 72.1% of all booths had a big AI on the on the back wall. It's I think the puppy one was the only one that didn't have AI. It was crazy, but we'll talk about that. Let's get to the real news, which
Cool.
you
Yeah.
picked up yesterday
Yeah.
at the Louise's conference.
Yeah, and before we leave HR Tech, I know, one of the things before we jumped on in the green room, you had mentioned that you were hoping to see Chris Foreman, the CEO of Appcast there.
Absolutely.
Chris is expecting, I think it's his first grandchild, so our best wishes are
Yeah, he's
with
not
him. And
expecting, but
well,
his daughter is expecting.
his work
His
was done.
family's, yes,
His work was done years ago.
one
So
presumes. Although I don't think of that as work. Maybe you do, or maybe Faith does,
just
but we ain't going there.
keep it G, man. Keep it
On
G.
to Appcast.
So I was at the Job Boards Connect conference, organized by our good friends Louise Triance and Louise Grant, here in London. This is their second annual conference. It's the third one that they've had. They also had one in the spring, like a semi-annual kind of one. They keep getting better. It's no surprise. They keep setting the bar high, and they keep getting better and better. We can talk about conferences another time, like we did in our previous episode, but there's some great news, really big news, I think. So I was interviewing Kate Kavanaugh. Kate is the head of the network, a global consortium of job boards that basically they buy and sell traffic to each other. It's usually the leading or maybe second leading site in each country. They're in something like 100, and I think she said 120 or 140 different countries. The network was set up by Stepstone Group. Stepstone Group 4 years ago purchased the bulk. I think it was 85% or something of that of Appcast. Chris
Don't make me
Foreman.
look it up in the middle of the podcast.
Oh, I'm
But it
not.
was more than that.
It was, well, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was the bulk of it. So Chris still owns a chunk of it. So I asked Kate a whole bunch of questions about the network. Doesn't matter for this podcast. But one of the questions that I had for her was about more of an Appcast Stepstone kind of a question, because one of the things that I've heard from literally about 20 different job boards, including mine, College Recruiter, is that we buy and sell buy traffic from and sell traffic to Appcast. When we buy traffic from them, we do it kind of like employers do or employment advertising agencies do, but there are some rule differences. Employers, for example, can buy traffic by sending their jobs into what's called Accelerate. I think it's CPC and CPA. And
Can
they,
I stop you right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
You're burying the lead.
Oh, no, I'm not. I need to sort of explain the context. So employers can buy it through Accelerate. They can also use the ClickCast product, which is like a SaaS product that allows you to send and receive jobs, manage bids, CPCs, budgets, etc. Employment advertising agencies can do the same, and job boards can use that ClickCast product. In July, and I'm getting to it, in July, Appcast purchased Bayard Advertising. And so Bayard is one of the world's leading employment advertising agencies, or was. One of the pieces of news that you saw at HR Tech that I saw at Job Boards Connect is that Appcast just has announced Appcast One, which I'm sure the folks from Appcast will quibble with my shorthand. Appcast One is basically what Bayard used to be. Okay, so if you hear Appcast One and you're wondering what it is, it's the employment advertising agency products. Now, here's where it kind of gets juicy. When they purchased Bayard in July, Chris Foreman called every single one of their employment advertising agency clients, Shaker Advertising, etc., and said, hey, it was a Sunday. Tomorrow, we're announcing that we purchased Bayard. Want to tell you that in advance so you're not caught blindsided. And here's how it's going to change our relationship. Basically, not at all. We're not going to use your data. If you want to make sure that you're going to be able to continue to use like the ClickCast product, tell us, and we're going to renew your contract for up to 3 years, no change in terms. I thought it was fantastic what they did, but they didn't do that with job boards. So you know how, Peter, sometimes when people tell you something, when people say something, you need to listen because it usually means something. But sometimes
I've never been accused of listening, but
but sometimes when they don't tell you something, you also have to listen. And it's like, why didn't they say something? Sometimes that's meaningful too. People sometimes don't tell you things that they don't want you to know. So College Recruiter and about 20 other job boards that I've talked to were concerned that the reason that Appcast didn't tell us that, hey, nothing's changed, you'll be able to continue to buy traffic through ClickCast, we were fearful that maybe that wasn't the case, that maybe Appcast was going to cut out the job boards and go around us to cut out the middleman. So I asked Kate on stage about that. She didn't know. She's really not involved in Appcast too much. It's one of the members of the network, but she's not really involved in it. Get off the stage 10 minutes later, and instantly, one of my friends, Roy Jacques, who's the head of Appcast in Europe, walks up to me and he says, I can answer your question. And then like 10 seconds later, Matt Molinari, who's now the CEO. And I've known Matt since the mid-2000s when he was back at Indeed. So the three of us went off and we had one of the greatest meetings that you could ever ask for. And they laid it out there. So basically, they didn't communicate it because they didn't think about it. It just didn't occur to them. So for job boards that have been nervous about Appcast potentially cutting them out, great news. Not going to happen. They also said that just like with the employment advertising agencies, they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. If job boards want to renew their contract and extend it by a year or 2 years or 3 years, just like the employment advertising agencies, they're happy to do that. So
let me stop you for a
status
second.
quo is news. Yeah, fire away.
Let me stop you for a second. You used the double negative. You essentially said they didn't decide not to tell. So what you're really saying is Appcast has committed to unchanging, essentially leaving the relationship with the job boards as is for up to 3 years, and they're going to tell the job boards because they failed to.
Correct.
So yeah, you buried the lead and you double negatived it, so nobody could understand what the heck were you talking about.
Listen, Linda, as the famous YouTube video went, and look that one up if you haven't seen it. It's adorable. I am a fully recovered lawyer, or as my wife would like to say, recovering. So lawyers are paid by the word. I got lots of words in, so I think I won that. So correct, Peter, though. To It's the reason that they didn't tell the job boards was simply that it didn't occur to them that we would have those concerns. If they had bought a big job board, I think they would have told the job boards no change. And maybe they would have forgotten to tell the ad agencies. So no malice, no, we're going to cut these job boards out. There's none of that. It was really great. Those two people, Roy and Matt, one of the reasons that I really, really like both of them is that they're just, here's how it works. There's things that they can talk about, there's things they can't talk about, but if they could have done something better, they're gonna say that. And I think
Okay.
more people should be like that.
So since you get paid by the word, you've already used up about 11 minutes and we're running out of time. I'm going to try to summarize. Number one,
Please.
Appcast continues to work with job boards, even though they bought Bayard and didn't say anything. They're going to do that, and you can renew for 1, 2, 3 years. Number two, Appcast One is really the renaming of Bayard. Number three, their products are not going to change. And last but not least, Chris Foreman, all things going well, God willing, will be Grandpa Chris very soon, or whatever his grandbaby decides to call him. And that's the most important one. You're going to take 30 seconds to talk about the Louise's conference. I'm going to take 30 seconds to talk about HR Tech,
Cool.
and throw in a plug for the best recruitment conference. And then we're going to wrap up.
Job Boards
Louise's.
Connect. Yeah, Job Boards Connect, London, great. Couple hundred attendees. Much
They
more
maxed out.
Yeah, they sold out, I think, 2 weeks early.
Yeah.
The much more international. There were people there from all over Europe, North America. I met somebody from Australia.
Oh,
It was fantastic, and their events just have a great vibe.
good for them.
The next one I think is in May.
Yep. HR Tech, great conference. Mostly not of direct interest to us. It's HR Tech.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of integrations, not with HRM, ATSs and human capital systems, and on and on and on. 90% of it, 95% of it, no interest to you or me. But the 5-10% that was of interest to me and interest to you was great, great, great. I really enjoyed it. I saw Terry Baker there. I saw the people from Appcast. I saw the Shaker folks. I miss Joey, and I feel bad about that. I still have to send him a note saying, let's catch up by phone, Joey Shaker, and on and on. And then next time I will see you in person, Rec Buzz in Barcelona. April. So we've used up our time. Stephen, thank you very much. We didn't do intros at the beginning because we hope people can read. But I should say you're Stephen Rothberg, Chief Visionary Officer of College Recruiter. And I'm Peter Zollman of the AIM Group. And that's it, Guy.
Cheers, man.
See ya.